Welcome to episode 60 of the David and Hillary Show.
We are recording this on St. Patrick's Day 2026, and so you're viewing it at least one day after. We want to stretch out the holiday just a bit. It's going to be worth it.
And being of the Irish clan ourselves, I married in, we wanted to share some fun facts about the holiday.
Including green rivers, the color blue, believe it or not, and even slavery. What in the world? But it's worth it.
Yeah, let's do this. So last week, we talked a little bit about encouragement.
Yep.
And one of our listeners actually commented and told us about two of their favorite quotes about encouragement. And so I wanted to share those today.
Yeah, they're good.
They are. They both come from Truett Cathy, the founder of
Chick-fil-A.
Jesus Chicken. That's what I call it. The founder of Chick-fil-A. Yeah. And so here are the two quotes on encouragement. Number one is, how do you know if someone needs encouragement?
How?
If they're breathing.
Ah,
And that means everybody.
that means everybody.
And the other one is, I've received a lot of encouragement in my life, but I've never had an overdose.
That's good.
Yeah. So really just keep on encouraging. If you think someone needs encouragement, yes, they do.
They do,
They
for
do.
sure. Well, for sure, thank you for that. And if you're listening and have comments, then we would encourage you to put those in the comments on the show, or you can email us at davidandhillaryshow@gmail.com. We welcome all comments. We appreciate it if you keep it civil, but go for it. Hillary has 2 L's. So spring is springing around here. It's not technically spring yet. We've had crazy weather, but that's kind of part of spring. In the month of March, they say if it comes in like a lamb, it'll go out like a lion, and vice versa. If it comes in like a lion, it'll go out like a lamb, which the lion and the lamb are, a lion would be crazy weather that you're maybe not excited about, and a lamb would be, we're getting out of winter and into calm things that people do like warmer weather and flowers and things like that.
I did not know you could flip those. I thought it always was in like a lion, out like a lamb.
It's so erratic and hard to predict that it could be either.
Okay. Wow.
And it's
Learning
not
new things.
it's not a guarantee that whichever way it comes in, it'll go out the opposite, but that's the old saying.
Yeah. No, I'm going to take it as a guarantee.
Well, we're halfway through March and we just had freezing temperatures again, which is not completely unusual, but it is unwelcome. Thank you very much. So let's be done with that. But before the freezing temperatures, spring was really springing around Middle Tennessee. And so I wanted to share some of the things that we've been seeing, even and especially really in our own backyard. I just love to do photography, as I've mentioned on here before, and shared some of my photography on the podcast. One of the tips, and I may have even shared this before, but it's really relevant this week. If you want to photograph beautiful things in nature, when you see it, shoot it. Don't make an excuse to have to come back. I understand you may be on the way to somewhere and you've got an appointment and you can't always just stop. But if you can, when you see something beautiful, amazing, fun, whatever, don't count on it being there tomorrow or the next day or even in an hour. So here is what we did in our backyard. Being that we work for ourselves, we have some control over our schedule, and I noticed that this tree in our backyard is called a butterfly's magnolia, and the butterfly's magnolia is unusual because it has tulip-shaped flowers. That's not the part that's unusual, but the part that's unusual is that they're a creamy yellow color, and you don't see that a lot. This is kind of a specimen tree, and it's words are failing me again, but the most commonly known magnolia has waxy green leaves all year long, and there are some that are ornamental, that's the word, magnolias that are deciduous and drop their leaves in the winter, and then before they leaf out, they bloom. Usually some shade of purple or pinkish purple is what most ornamental magnolias are. But this butterfly's magnolia is this pretty buttery yellow color.
Was it on the campus of Lee University that we fell in love with that tree?
Yeah, they had one there that was just absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful, and I did some research and I found that I could get it locally, and that's where we got
Yeah.
ours.
'Cause
and
you don't see
planted
these.
it a few years ago. Yeah, it was 2021 that we planted it.
Have you ever seen one of these around town?
A couple, but
Besides
not.
our backyard?
Yeah, I've started seeing them. I think maybe other people are finding out about them,
Yeah.
but not very many.
Yeah.
Not very many. So the first picture is of the tree with my cell phone, and just like tried to find a way to get a good picture of the tree. The second picture is me on a ladder that Hillary took with her cell phone that shows how, and I think that's me taking a picture of me taking the first picture that you saw, because
Yeah.
that's just my cell phone. But it's hard to get a great picture of that because we've got neighbors' houses and all kinds of things in the background. So, but I knew that the best shots would be with my good camera and probably up on a ladder, because I wanted to get in close. If you get in close and you shoot with the right settings on the camera, you can blur the background. That's called giving it bokeh. And so that's what I tried to do. So here's the first one. This again is on a cloudy day. The cloudy day gave the flowers kind of more of a dreamy quality. I call it the creamy, dreamy look, at least with this color of subject. And so then I looked for other angles, groupings, multiple flowers together, or whatever. Are we looking down in the middle of the flower? Are we looking at the side of the flower? And here's one that almost looks like twins. You can tell it's a cloudy day, but I think it's still a pretty picture.
I love that picture. I love the stem going through the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
The
fun.
branch.
I saw that, and I really wanted them to be perfectly even, but they're not. But it's okay. Here's another one looking right down in the middle, and I tried to focus on the stamen and all the parts in the middle. So the petals are actually a little blurry, but I think it's artistic. I kind of like it. Here's one, of course, from the side, doing the same thing. I feel like the center of the flower usually is the center of attention. And so you can see also here in the background, what's back there? Who knows? But it's all blurry. So it brings attention to the parts that you're trying to bring attention to. And I think this
that's
is
beautiful.
Yeah, I think this is the first one of the series that was taken on a sunny day, which was it was either the next day or the second day after I took the first batch of pictures. And I thought, well, they're going to look different in the sun. One of the drawbacks in the sun is it can create harsh shadows, so you got to be careful.
Okay.
Your angles and how you do it. But I think this one's pretty. And here's another one of a grouping of two that are just barely open with petals kind of sticking out at fun angles. And if you look real closely, the top flower, that center is really in focus, and it's got pretty cool light in there too. This is obviously just falling apart. It's kind of past peak. The petals are coming off, but the center is the center of attention. And so I thought that was fun with the blue sky in the background. And this one I thought was a very artistic angle, but the coolest part of this is down in the lower right. There's some kind of little bee
Yeah.
on the.
I always love when you can catch a bumblebee or a butterfly or some insect that's kind of just hanging around on the petals. I love it.
Yeah. Well, already I saw a big heavy bee buzzing all around that tree, and he never stopped in a place where I could get a good shot of him, which was disappointing. But this guy cooperated. Here's another one, just with the petals kind of straight up before it fully opens, and really got a great picture of the blue sky on
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
gorgeous with the blue and the yellow. Wow.
Yeah. And there are just all kinds of branches behind there. There's probably more branches than sky, but when you can set your settings to blur the background like that, it's fun to see what you end up with. And I think this is the last one of the magnolia. That one almost looks like a tulip there, just looking down at the top. And I kind of like that branch going through the edge
Yes.
of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Well, here's what I was talking about earlier. Get the pictures while you can. This is what it looked like yesterday. I think I
Yeah.
took this shot yesterday. It
A
just
tree of
kind of was
sadness.
past the peak,
Yeah.
and that's it. So if I hadn't gotten those shots, then here's a close up. This is there are no shots of that tree
Yeah.
that anybody wants to see now.
Yeah.
So get them while you can get them.
Yep.
Well, also right now in our yard, we have a red bud, and there's a lot of cool things about red bud trees, but one of them is that it just gets little clumps of blooms all along the stems. And
Yeah. I love that.
so, I really enjoyed I just got a couple of this, and this was late in the day. You can tell it's kind of that golden hour light. And these are the buds that are getting ready to pop open on the stem. And here's a little different one from a different angle.
It's kind of reminding me of that phrase in the Bible. I don't know if I understand it correctly, but it's Aaron's rod that budded. Like that was one of the things that was in the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me, like you expect like where the leaf is going to come out, you expect a bloom there, but just the stem and the trunk it's just really cool. It's cool to see that.
Yeah, it is. Well, I've got one last photo to show you, and this is the sunset at Harlansdale Farms in Franklin, Tennessee. I was driving home and could just see that the sunset was amazing, and thankfully I was near this place, which I know has a great view of the sunset. And so I pulled in. I did not do anything in post-processing to change the colors of
Wow.
this.
Okay.
I did change the size of it a little bit. I did a couple things to it, but really that's what it looked like. That was a cell phone shot, and that's another example of you better get it while you see it or it's
Yes.
going to be gone. Sunsets and sunrises change so fast. If you think, well, I'll get a picture of it in 10 minutes. It won't look like that in 10
Yeah.
It won't look like that in 2 minutes.
That's why our neighbors think I'm a little cuckoo, because I'll catch a glimpse of a color out the window and I'm like, okay, stop everything, let's go. And we'll just walk to the end
Yeah.
of the driveway because we can catch a really good view, out the west. We don't catch the sunrise, but we do see the sunset.
Not usually.
Not usually. And but yeah, I mean, you can, by the time you say let's go and you get out to the end of the driveway, it's already different.
Yeah.
And you stand there for 2 minutes and it's changing as you stand there.
It's constantly changing.
So I was just going to say that kind of reminded me of like life in general. Like your life is going to go through seasons and phases, and some of them seem to last a long time and some of them are very short-lived. And if something beautiful is happening in your life, don't miss it. Like stop, take that second and just really appreciate it. Sometimes I make you stop in the yard and you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, just stop. Just it's our job to admire something beautiful.
Yeah.
So if the flowers are blooming or if the birds are beautiful, we will literally just take 2 seconds and just stop. And we just like, okay, we're going to actually appreciate this.
Yeah.
And so, you're stuck with me, but I'm sure
Well,
the neighbors think I'm a little weird. What's she always doing out in the middle of the road?
Yes.
I'm
just go
admiring
out
things.
and look. You said we, but it's mostly you.
It's mostly me.
I'll come to the front door and I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty.
I've seen that before, but it's pretty. And I'll go back to what I'm doing. And 5 or 10 minutes later, you come back in.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot to mention it, but we have new show and tell graphics. So we're working on this, trying to just add little things to the show here and there. So
Hopefully you already put that in.
That's fun. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I will have put it in. And this is another show and tell, but it's really the beginning of the next part of what we're going to talk about, or the main part of what we're going to talk about today, which is Ireland and St. Patrick's Day. So my name, McClung, is Irish, Scottish, and we went to the Scottish Tartan Museum in Franklin
North
Carolina, not too long ago, a couple years ago.
Yep.
And I think we've even talked about that before on here. If I can
Episode 5.
if I can find the pictures, I will put them back up.
Yep.
Of the little thing that talks about the McClung name and how all those Scottish names started out MAC. Before Ireland, we were in Scotland, so it's MacClung, although now it's McClung. But that's interesting, and there's a tartan for the region of Scotland that we were from. But this is a book that a cousin of mine wrote, and it's about the history of the McClungs who ended up in Greenbrier County in West Virginia, which the McClungs that I run into, which is not very often, there aren't a lot of them, but those that I find that live in America and the United States, excuse me, almost always trace their roots back through West Virginia. So that's kind of where we settled.
Yeah.
When we moved here from Ireland, and before that, Scotland, and before that, Reba McClung, who wrote the book, says that we were Vikings.
I believe that. I believe it.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of that to say that we are interested in St. Patrick's Day. Although I have to say, I grew up with that was not a big deal for our family.
Yeah.
We didn't really celebrate it. My mother never made Irish dishes. We have no recipes. It's my dad's side. There's nothing that got passed down to him with regards to that. No traditions or whatever. I found out about if you don't wear green to school on St. Patrick's Day, you get pinched.
Yep.
I found that out when I went to school and didn't wear green because it was so not a thing for our family. But it's always interesting to look into the history and to try to kind of learn about these things. So you did a little bit of a deep dive on St. Patrick.
I did.
Would
yeah,
love
because
to have you
really,
tell us about it.
I mean, again, growing up, all you knew was wear green so you don't get pinched.
Right.
And probably there's going to be food with cabbage in it. We did do some of that. We did some like cabbage sauerkraut kind of things at our house. So not specifically for St. Patrick's Day, but different foods that we would eat. So that's the closest I got.
Well, there was Polish in your stepdad's family?
Czech, yeah.
Oh, Czech, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of Eastern European where I don't know why anybody eats sauerkraut, but there seemed to be a lot of that.
It's good for your digestion.
In Germanic peoples.
Yeah. All right. Well, so St. Patrick was actually not born St. Patrick, but that's who we're talking about, was born in Roman Britain around 385 AD. So it was called Roman Britain because the territory, which was known as the province of Britannia, was occupied, administered, and culturally influenced by the Roman Empire from AD 43 to approximately 410.
Wow.
So, so it's, again, it's so interesting.
So that's like roughly 10 years after Jesus was crucified.
Right.
And rose again. But just to put it in context with historical things, it was just 10 years after that the Roman Empire was still spreading, and they took over what we think of today as Great Britain.
Mm-hmm. Yep. His birth name, which I learned from Veggie Tales, was Maewyn Succat.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Succat.
Yeah. And in this other place that I looked up some information, said he may have grown up in the area that we think of as Wales. He was brought to Ireland at age 16 because he was captured by Irish warriors, and they had raided the west coast of Britain and then took him back to Ireland as a slave. Yeah. So that was his start in life at age 16.
So, I mentioned that in our opening, and I did not know that until, it was a few years ago that we had seen some stuff on St. Patrick. But it doesn't get talked about too much that he was a slave. Mm-hmm. He actually worked as a slave. He worked as a shepherd for about 6 years, and then he escaped, which is fun.
Yeah.
I say fun now. It's probably not the right word for all this, but I think it's a cool part of the story.
Right. So
Like, why are there not more movies about the life of St. Patrick?
exactly.
It was a very intriguing story. After he escaped slavery, he returned to Britain and entered the clergy. And so, after studying that, he became a Christian missionary and then went back to the land where he was a slave, back to Ireland, to spread Christianity, possibly in 432 AD.
Right. So, and then according to tradition, I don't know if they can prove this exactly, but it says that, well, I mean, he did convert many Irish people to Christianity, but the tradition is that he used the shamrock to explain the concept of the Trinity. And so it's really just a piece of clover with 3 portions on it. And he used that to, the tradition says he used that to explain that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit were all 3 separate entities, but one,
Right.
to try to, give a picture. And then,
Always a difficult thing to explain.
oh yeah,
But kind of a cool way to do it.
yes, yeah. And then it's believed that he died on March 17th around the year 461. And so March 17th was the day that they said to be St. Patrick's Day, the day of his death.
Yeah, interesting. Without knowing anything about it, I would have thought that was just picked at random, or that maybe it was his birthday, but they think it was the day of his death.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, you mentioned Veggie Tales earlier.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, if you don't know, Veggie Tales was an animated creation that was used several years ago to help tell Bible stories to children, to get them interested in the Bible.
Yes.
And one of the episodes that they had was one on Veggie Tales. And that one was a little different than a lot of the other ones. It didn't have Bob the tomato and Larry the cucumber in it. Yeah, you heard me right. If you're not familiar with Veggie Tales, you should check it out. Just go on a little excursion down YouTube lane with Veggie Tales. There's some fun stuff going on there. But we will put a link to the Veggie Tales St. Patrick's Day skit, or whatever you want to call it, episode on. We will put that in the description of this episode because it's really good, and they incorporate some humor and a lot of actual facts, but it's
less than
fun.
10 minutes long.
It's like 8.5 minutes long, and it's really cool. It's a cool story.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're watching this and you're one of my children, you'll, I'm sure, remember that there was a little forced family fun every St. Patrick's Day, and we would sit down and watch that.
Yeah.
Because it was a great story, and it was, full of great information and very funny.
Yep.
So, so later, the Catholic Church later declared this day, March 17th, to be a feast day in honor of St. Patrick. And for centuries in Ireland, it was just mainly it was a religious holiday for church services, family meals, a pretty quiet celebration, which is not what it is today.
Right. Right. Well, what we think of it in the United States is a lot different.
Yeah.
And so let's look at that a little bit. The large public celebrations that you have outside of Ireland, especially in the United States, started because of immigrants who landed in places like Boston and New York City, and they wanted to celebrate their heritage. And one of the ways that they like to do that is parades. I don't know if I've ever been to a St. Patrick's Day parade.
I don't know if I have either.
But apparently in New York and Boston, it's a really big deal. So the Irish immigrants there, the one in New York City started in 1762. That's a long time ago.
That's incredible, really.
Yeah.
So But I kind of get that, right? You're far away from your homeland.
Right.
You're in a strange place, and you just want something to kind of remind you of your heritage. And so, yeah, what a great way to do that.
Well, I wanted to throw in too. We've watched Blue Bloods for a lot of years, TV show about police family in New York City. And then now there's a spinoff, Boston Blue, where one of the main characters, Danny Reagan, and his son end up in Boston, and now they're working as the son as a, just an officer on the street, and Danny as a detective in Boston. And so, I should have written this down. I'm drawing a blank. What was the son's name in the show?
Is it Sean?
Sean.
Yeah.
So Sean and his best friend are talking about St. Patrick's Day, and the friend says he hates it. And having grown up in Boston and having worked a couple years as a police officer in Boston, the parade and all the things, he just doesn't like it.
Right.
And Sean is just appalled, like, how can you not like St. Patrick's Day? Well, the friend is not Irish, but Sean and Danny are. And Sean is like, I mean, it's the best. It's our heritage. It's all the things. I can't believe. And he said, well, you'll see. And they start to see people are using it as an excuse to get drunk and to act up and do bad behavior. And and so the friend is trying to tell Sean that before he actually sees it. And Sean says, well, that's not what, St. Patrick's Day is about. Well, what is it about? Well, it's about how St. Patrick spread Christianity throughout Ireland. And the friend says, well, celebrate that, but don't use it as an excuse to drink too much and be an idiot.
Right.
And so they kind of show on that episode that that's what a lot of people are doing. And I would agree with that. There's probably never a good excuse to drink too much and be an idiot.
Right.
But let's look at some of the other ways that people in America celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Well, and one of the, you said there's not a good excuse to just, get drunk and have parties, but it is a good excuse if you want to turn your river green. This was really fun when I did a little searching on St. Patrick's Day. Some people might know that in Chicago, they will turn the Chicago River green the Saturday before St. Patrick's Day to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. It's one of the things they do.
Yeah.
But the reason that started was in 1962, members of the Chicago Journeyman Plumbers Local Union 130, they were trying to find illegal sewage leaks that were flowing into the river. So they had a green dye that they were using that they could put in the river and then trace the pollution to find out where it was entering the river, the water.
They probably put it in the sewer. And then they were looking to see where it left the
where
sewer
it entered.
and
Yes,
the
where it
river.
entered the water. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but what happened?
I mean, I'm not in Union 130, but I'm just guessing that's what they did.
Yeah. So what happened was then when the dye spread through the river, the city officials realized it was creating a bright emerald green color, or maybe there was just more sewage leak than they thought. I don't know. But that would be perfect for celebrating St. Patrick's Day. And the mayor at the time loved the idea and approved.
Mayor Daley.
Yep, Mayor Daley. There's a lot of Dailies in politics. I found that out too. Loved the idea and approved turning it into a holiday event.
Okay.
So the problem is the original workers that put the dye in, they used about 100 pounds of the dye, and it kept the river green for about a week.
I mean, the Chicago River is huge. It's a lot of water. Yes. And I don't really know, 100 pounds to that and how it and what it did to the fish or I don't know any of that. But that does sound like a lot of.
It sounds like a lot.
A lot of dye.
Today, they use much less dye. The color usually lasts several hours to about a day. And what they do is the boats go out on the river in the morning. The workers sprinkle, it's an environmentally safe orange powder.
I'm sure it is.
Into the water. The powder reacts with the water and then turns the river bright green.
So it's an orange powder.
Yeah, an orange powder.
Wow.
And
science.
And apparently the recipe for this is safeguarded through that plumbers union.
Oh, wow.
Only a few people know the recipe to turn the river green.
Okay.
So, yeah. But within minutes, the river becomes a vivid emerald green. So that'd be kind of fun.
Cool.
That's
cool.
fun.
Well, fun facts. We're actually wearing some authentic Irish things.
Yes, we are.
Today. Our daughter Sage went to Ireland with a group from college a couple years back as part
Study
of
abroad. Yep.
part of a study abroad thing, which was very cool. And she brought us back some souvenirs.
Yep.
So my hat, the Emerald Isle, Ireland, is actually from Ireland.
Yep.
And from that trip. And then you want to talk about what you're
Yeah.
wearing?
Yeah. And then this wool sweater. I have to be careful when I wear it because it is so warm. You have to be very careful when you wear a completely wool sweater. But it is from Ireland. I think it's a hand knit sweater. It is amazing. If it's really cold outside, this is what I'm wearing. And you know I don't like to be cold.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well,
It's amazing.
Irish wool sweater.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But you want to mention something about the color of my sweater?
Yeah, well, it's blue. Why is it blue? Besides the fact that that's your favorite color.
Well, it is my favorite color. But fun fact, the original color that was associated with St. Patrick's Day was blue
Crazy.
and not green.
Well,
Green
it was kind of the color of Ireland, wasn't it? Blue
Well,
for a while.
Of Ireland. I'm not sure. It's just that when they would picture St. Patrick, like the old paintings, they'd always have him in blue robes.
Okay.
But because Ireland was known as the Emerald Isle, and then I'm not sure when their flag incorporated these colors, but it's green and white and orange.
Okay.
So green is more associated with Ireland.
Orange because of the dye that turns.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not it.
Okay.
But they kind of switched over and said, okay, well,
so that
we're gonna
was because okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna now associate St. Patrick's with green because of Ireland.
Because of the Emerald Isle.
Yes.
Yes,
Where
I
originally
interpreted that poorly.
it was just mostly blue. He was just always painted in blue robes.
Okay.
I'm like, that's my dude right there.
Right.
Yeah. Me and Patrick wearing blue.
Yes.
But I do also have a green t-shirt on because I don't want you to pinch me.
Opportunity missed.
I know.
Well, thank you for joining us. Spring, actual start of spring is in a couple of days, and we hope that it's starting to act like spring wherever you are, and that you're not getting too much more freezing weather. Although I know that can last for a while in some places, especially north of here. But we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you haven't shared an episode with anybody lately, do that. If you're enjoying it, I'm sure someone else will too. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the David and Hillary Show.
See ya.